more on the situation inside Iran, I want to bring in CBS News Middle East reporter Courtney Kealy. Good to see you, my friend, as always. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I think you and I have spoken about this in the past. What, to your eyes and to your experience, is different about what we're seeing today in Iran versus, for example, what we saw during the Green Revolution in '09, or even back in 2016 or in 2022, where there have been periodic moments where the people have risen up against the regime only to be suppressed? Does this feel different to you this time?
It's very different, and I'll tell you why. 2009 was about free and fair elections. The president that the people had voted for was not being put in. So they still had confidence in the electoral system. 2022 was women, life, freedom. And it was about, women actually got the hijab law relaxed. And a lot of women now walk around in places like Tehran without any head coverings. 2023, October 7th, changed the trajectory of everything because Hezbollah got decimated, Hamas got decimated, Assad left Syria, Iraq didn't get engaged. The Shia militias stayed in Iraq to themselves. Very few went over into Iran. You didn't have any sort of mobilization. Then we get to the 12-day war. And basically what happened was Mossad infiltrated Iran like Swiss cheese. Not only did they use their own Israeli people and had placed them in truckers and on the ground to shoot out at the ballistic missiles or take out the top nuclear scientists, or really just take out the whole top, all the regimists, all the people that have been in the Iran-Iraq war in the 80s, they're gone. They were taken out by Israeli forces, and then the U.S. kind of put the cherry on the top, which Trump would say or something. I'm not giving opinions, but they took out all the nuclear sites except for one that might be building centrifuges. So Iran still has about 2,000 to 3,000 ballistic missiles, and it has these protesters in the street, and they're fed up. It started with the economics coming out of the Grand Bazaar, which is like an index the way we look at Wall Street. That's how you do it. And then it's spread to all the provinces and all the different generations and all the different socioeconomic classes.
So you have right now, Courtney, which is interesting, you've got several components that would indicate, and I read a very interesting piece in The Atlantic this weekend, that they posit that the revolution, the 1979 revolution, is in its twilight because you've got the economic conditions that have made people very, very angry. You've got the factions at the ruling level that are all disagreeing with each other. The question becomes, how soon, if at all, are the people who are repressing those protests decide that they no longer want to do that? That's really where you can see the balance of power shift. Because right now, they still have, the state is able to amass muscle to bring these protesters to heel, and you're seeing that they're killing some of them in the streets right now. But it will be interesting to see if any of those people, the Revolutionary Guard or those elites, decide to say enough is enough.
So for me, it's all eyes on the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. These are mid-managers. They're not the top leaders. They're not the ones that call the shots anymore. Do they stay on? They haven't made the money. They don't have the graft. They're like floor managers of a factory with all the top managers that oversaw them gone. So what could press on that? What could press on those vulnerabilities is actually airstrikes. Now, Mossad is still inside Iran, and we don't know what they're planning. It's quiet in Israel. We hear what President Trump has been saying now, that likely a red line has been crossed. Remember the red line from Obama? This is his legacy. He was very proud of what the U.S. did when they took out the nuclear sites, if you remember. And what they did was they used B-2 bombers. They did not use carriers. So there's all these reports of there are not enough USS carriers in the region. They still have the Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. But they flew bombers, and they also flew bombers with a head fake. They moved one way and the other. And they also had Israeli Mossad and Iranians that had joined in the intelligence forces to take out the scientists and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard from the ground.
So, okay, the president has said all options remain on the table, including those strikes. There's also cyber warfare that the United States can conduct. There's economic warfare. But if the president were to choose the military option, and the Revolutionary Guard then capitulates. What happens next? I mean, we have Holly reporting from Iraq. You've reported from the region. We all saw what happened in the Middle East. Saddam Hussein gone, Iraq a mess. Muammar Gaddafi gone, Libya a mess. I mean, this is something that we've seen time and time again. In that vacuum, who steps in? I've seen tweets from the Shah, the former Shah's son, who still claims legitimacy to the throne of the Persian Empire. I'm ready to lead. What happens in that wake if what you're suggesting, the Revolutionary Guard decides to throw down their arms and join the people in these protests? So
in these massive protests, there have been massive killings and arrests, and we've seen a 16-year-old's funeral. They shot at the people at the funeral in mourning. We know now a 26-year-old is slated for execution on Wednesday, his family has been told. So they're full on. The regime is not backing down. They've got their state-run protests on the street, on their state-run television. We've all seen this before. I was there for Gaddafi and Mubarak, and we watched the final end, the denouement of Assad, but how many years did it take? Yeah. So big X factor. We don't know. Reza Pahlavi, he's got about 30%, but he's not really bringing back the Shah. When they say long live the Shah and the Gen Z say that, they're trolling. They're trolling the regime.
Interesting. Well, so yeah, the Egypt point is a well one, because everybody thought that regime was going to collapse in the wake of the Tahrir Square stuff, and it didn't. It only got stronger, and they killed a lot of people, repressed a lot of people, and in the end, they're still there. Right, so it'll be very interesting to see what happens, and it does sort of seem to hinge, though, on what the president decides to do. If he decides airstrikes, that's a game changer.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. This is a real, white knuckling through this, and I'm seeing heartbreaking messages of people that can't reach their friends and family in Iran, and there are these memes where they're up against a wall, and then their people are against the wall, and there's a sign of connectivity and a sign of no connectivity. And somebody put this heartbreaking message: I just want to talk to you and send you a voicemail, but you're not going to hear it.
It is so sad and tragic to see and we're only getting these images because people are somehow reaching out, getting connected through Starlink, right, because the government has shut down everything, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. Courtney, always good to have you, my friend, to break this down for us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.